The wah-wah pedal. Some people love it, some people hate it. There's so many ways to use it, but one way that I don't see discussed quite as often as maybe it should be, because it can be a very interesting way to spice up our tone, is utilizing the so-called cocked wah. You might ask what that is. Well, today we're going to examine exactly how we can accomplish this quote-unquote cocked wah sound in the Helix, and do it in a manner that's going to be very easy to recall in our preset if we dial in something that we really like. So stay tuned, you just might find a new little trick to help you to coax some pretty new, interesting, and inspiring tones from your Helix. Let's head over to HX Edit and take a look. All right, so here we are over in HX Edit. I have a little preset I threw together really quickly based around my little template. It is utilizing the Brit Trim Norm amplifier model into one of the new firmware 3.5 412 Greenback 25 cabs. The preset sounds like this. I'm playing my Vigier GV wood guitar, one of my favorite guitars. Okay, so that's the tone we have. Now, this cocked wah sound, this is something that we hear on, maybe some of the most famous examples would be on Michael Schenker's tones, a lot of his tones, something like the riff I played in the intro, and also another, probably the most famous example would be Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, where Mark Knopfler plays his Les Paul through this cocked wah sound to get a very unique and instantly recognizable tone. And I'll tell you, if that wasn't there, that cocked wah sound, that riff may not have caught on the way it did. It's always interesting to think back and wonder if one little thing was changed in some of these iconic riffs, would they have still had the success? Pretty interesting stuff. So anyways, here's what a cocked wah sound is. If we come to an empty block at the beginning of our preset, I'm going to pick the Weeper wah pedal for no other reason than I like that one. Now, what happens when we assign a wah pedal in the Helix is that it's automatically assigned to our expression pedal. So if I come over to my expression pedal and engage that, you'll notice now I have my foot stretched out over here to reach my Helix, but I'm moving with expression pedal 1, as it's notated here, to go through my typical wah sounds. So pretty typical stuff. But now when talking about something like Mark Knopfler playing on Money for Nothing, what he did, and this is where this cocked wah idea comes in, is he would just set this to a particular position that he liked and just kind of left it there. And that's generally the effect you're going to get from this. Now, the problem is with some wah pedals, depending on how loose or tight the pedal is, it's sometimes hard to get it to stay in one position without it rocking back and forth to different positions, which is going to dramatically change the tone. You can imagine if this rocked all the way up to almost its toe position, we might end up with something kind of harsh. So if we have our Helix expression pedal tightened enough, then it should stay in place like mine is. The problem is if it gets bumped, or if we want to recall it for just an instant, and every time that we start that wah pedal, it'd be in the same spot, we have a bit of a problem. And with a traditional wah, that's almost impossible. We'd need to engage it first, and then we would need to find our rightful position where we would want it. But on the Helix, we have ways around all of this. We could have a dedicated wah just for the cocked wah sound, and treat it much like any other effect, not controlling it via the expression pedal. So what we can do, we could just simply right-click on this and unassign that to the expression pedal. So now the expression pedal is not actually going to have any effect on what this does anymore. So now we're going to be able to just utilize this, that when we turn it on, when we engage the wah pedal, it will always just turn on into this position wherever we set it. I have it at 39% right now. Now, what we could easily do is simply assign that to a foot switch, have that down in our stomp mode. I'm going to put my Helix in that. And now I have on a foot switch the ability to turn that on and off just with the bypass. Now we might find that we lose a little bit of volume when we engage it. We could bump up the output of that. We can adjust that even if we wanted it to have a boost to it. We could just use the output volume here as well. That is going to hit the amp front a little harder, so it's going to add a little more gain to our sound as well as volume potentially. But it does dramatically change our tone. It thins it out. It gives us this traditional, what we call cocked wah sound. Now, another interesting thing we could do as well, we could even go as far as assigning our position to another foot switch. Let's go right beside it on 8. Come over to bypass controller assign and say that we want our minimum position to maybe be something like, I don't know, 25, and our maximum position to be something like 42. Now what's going to happen when we come back here and I press the position foot switch, I'm going to be able to switch between two settings to have two different cocked wah effects. And we could even go more extreme than that if we so desired. Maybe you want it for rhythm, kind of the lower frequencies accentuated and maybe a little more cut in the high end so that we foot switch that over to the 60% mark. Gives us a very different effect. So we're not going to get that traditional sweeping wah sound, but we're going to have two fixed positions, and it can give us a very interesting thing to play around with to potentially spice up our tone. Now, it's not for me to tell you where to position this. Your best bet would maybe be to actually assign this to the expression pedal, and then from there, sweep through listening for the value that you like, and I was liking, around 35 there, and then we can simply disengage this, choose our position as I had before, assign it to a foot switch, and we're up and running. So it really is as simple as that. So if you're feeling like, you're looking for something new, something inspirational, something that you'd like to spice up your tone a bit, the cocked wah could be the perfect thing. And a lot of folks who don't necessarily like traditional wah playing actually enjoy this. They can put it on, switch it in and out whenever they desire, and have a different tonal variation in their so-called tone palette. So I hope that was enjoyable. I hope some folks find it useful, and I hope it just sparks some new ideas for you that will help you get more out of your Helix. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Ciao for now.